Hey guys! All right. We are getting ready for. Let me put her in here. What's up? What's up? What's up? Happy Wednesday. There she is.
Hi, how are you? I'm
Oh my God.
still.
I'm going to adjust each week. You and I, either I'm like in my car or you're in your car. Today I'm actually in my office.
No, this is so great because on my story, we've already talked about whether I didn't know if I was going to have a good volume hair day or look like Ruth from Ozark, and it's gone that direction.
Oh my God, you look, are you kidding? You always, guys, does she not always look stunning and absolutely gorgeous?
Well, that's very
Absolutely
kind.
gorgeous.
That's very
This
kind.
is
Thank
this
you.
is my girl. This is our hang time.
Oh, you look so beautiful. I miss
Oh
you.
my God. Try. I'm on so many videos today that I had to do like the makeup for the all day, you know?
Well, you look beautiful. You look
Oh
beautiful.
my
Let's.
God.
This is how I feel. This is. I'm gonna watch. Look at this filter. That's how I feel right now. That's exactly
That's
how.
how I felt last week. I was sitting with the phone this close to my face and I was like, what's happening?
No. How
What's
are
up,
you?
guys? What's
Hello
up?
to
We are here
everyone.
for Cosmic Tea. This is Cosmic Tea with me and Dr. Olivia Audrey. We are here every Wednesday at noon answering your questions, talking about all of the topics that are right on your heart, in your minds, and on your souls. That's what we're here for. Hi, my beautiful friend.
Hello.
All right, last week we did the love edition. I think it was epic.
So many people responded to that and absolutely just
Huge.
loved it, right?
Loved
I'm
it.
sorry. I just need to take a moment and just I might is this okay? Can I just do cosmic tea like this?
You can do whatever you want. It's our
Okay.
show.
Okay, great.
You can do whatever you want.
So they love.
I mean, I legitimately have showed up for this thing in my car, sitting outside of cafes, phone this far away from my face.
Because it's
We
real
keep it
life.
real here.
It's real life. So I'm sitting in my car, obviously you can see, and I'm all sweaty. And I'm so excited to be here though, because yes, the love edition was so many people responded
Huge.
and they loved the love edition. So I thought, I don't know, we even talked about it, but I thought we should either continue on with that or we should, whatever, move into whatever you feel. Any of you watching, what would you like to talk about today? This is fully interactive. Let's see what people say. Please don't say naughty things. Please don't.
Oh my God, you're all so
So
pretty. Oh,
nice. Thank
Emily,
you. What
you're
would you
so
guys like to
sweet.
hear about?
Thank you. So I actually have something. So last week we talked about, so guys, normally Liv and I do check in and we talk about like what we're going to talk about. So we don't you think like I know your time is precious. So I would love to talk about, there's two things that I'm seeing and hearing a lot of and receiving a lot of questions around, or I would say more comments around in terms of we've got COVID going on and everything else. And with the heightened isolation, there's also this new experience of easy overwhelm, and people feeling really overwhelmed. And also that a little bit of like the, and then the over analysis and paralysis. So where with people that have been more isolated, whether you're surrounded by people or you know, you're alone, the tendency where minds are now assuming the worst and getting more judgmental on themselves. And we know when you're more judgmental on yourselves, you're more judgmental on others, right? But also kind of assuming like, oh, in the, so let me clarify. So, you know, when some people have been away, the questions I've been getting is, I'm noticing that I've lost touch with friends or family, and I'm kind of just assuming, or I'm getting hurt feelings, or I'm assuming that they don't want to reach out. And when I've actually responded, I'm like, well, have you reached out? Where's the connection? And I'm seeing that it's a lot of hyper analyzation and assuming the worst, and that this isolation's breeding more self-judgment.
Mm.
So I would love if this is a topic that I know I've heard a lot, and then just experiencing a lot of overwhelm as things are getting busier or just as things are shifting. Because it is also interesting too with the pandemic. It's like things slowed down a lot, but at the same time, then we're still expected to have all of these same responsibilities. So people are and then people are getting more on their plates. So I thought it would be good if we could talk about different ways to manage time and reconnect with ourselves and others, and maybe get out of our heads more and into our hearts.
I love that. As you're talking, I'm just like, my brain, we're so similar. My brain is already like spinning like on the hamster wheel.
I love it.
So the number one thing that I want to say is this, first and foremostly, there is the number one by and far predicator of any kind of disease, and I don't care if you have a genetic predisposition to it or if you if this is something that doesn't run in your family, any kind of disease across the board is isolation. It's social isolation, which is a really interesting concept because you can look at anything, cancer, diabetes, and it's always that feeling alone and feeling alone in a struggle, which is and that's sort of, you learn that day, 101 in medical school, and any doctor will tell you that. So I think that what's changing, in my opinion, is not that we haven't found ways to feel connected. It's that we have all changed as a result of this. And so who we are in the ways that we used to connect is probably very different than what you thought it was. Lockdown and quarantine and COVID, I think has really hopefully taught us all a lot about ourselves. And so yes, it's time management, but I also feel like it's, again, we talk about this so much, reevaluating who am I now that this has happened? Because I know you do this with your clients, as do I, but every time something occurs in your life, the purpose is growth, right? So you have to sit down and have a conversation with yourself. Who am I now? How has the dust settled? How has this affected me? You cannot keep using the same rules that you've always used for your life now and moving forward. It just doesn't work that way. You've grown, your soul has evolved, and so you have to continually rewrite sort of the terms and conditions of your life and how you want to feel when you live it. I for myself, I actually am probably not the best on time management, as we know, because I will find myself getting really lost in moments. And that used to be something that I really tried to fight against because I felt like, oh, if I'm not on it and I'm not productive and I'm not doing this. But the more that I get lost in moments with people or just conversation or whatever, and really allowed myself to do that, I'm finding my life 1,000,000% more joyful. So it's not about doing the things that you think are productive. It's about doing the things that feel best as you are doing them. What do you think about that? What's your take on that, Melissa?
I love this so much because, oh my God, I see one of my girls, Tracy Campoli. I miss you, girl. I miss you. So happy to have you here. You need to meet this one. You would love Liv. I have to connect you guys. So I 1,000%. I love when you said about slowing down in the moment, and we are like the same person. I actually wrote in my journal today, slow down, be in the moment. And one of the things that I was even teaching this week in one of my groups was really assessing and going, okay, guys, we're constantly creating our reality. And if you're feeling like life is happening to you and it's pulling you, are you being intentional with how you spend your time and really taking stock? And I had everybody, and I think if you're listening to this, then you're meant to hear this as well. Really taking stock and going, what is my ideal day? What is my ideal morning? What is my ideal weekend? How do I really want to spend my time versus getting caught up in a lot of the overwhelm? Because Liv, I'm like you, where I can just keep stacking things.
Yeah.
Especially when you run your own business and then you've got, your personal life and you've got a full life, right? Which we both do. It's so easy to find that you're not able to just be in those moments because you're just like, oh, okay, from 12 to 12:30, I'm doing this. From 12:30 to 1, I'm doing this. right? And then you're missing out on those opportunities of what life is, right? So I was even going to bed last night and I was like, what is more important? Is at the end of this time, is it going to be like, oh, how many posts did I get in and things, or was it who I spent my time with and how I spent my time? So if you are listening to this and noticing that time is flying and you're kind of like, oh my God, I feel like I'm more in a rat race, even though I'm home and have all this, I really want to, invite you to take a step back and look at, okay, wait a minute. Now more than ever, more people are working from home. And you get to manage your time differently. So are you still operating under your old paradigm of busy, 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 busy? And I have to be at work this many hours. I find that a lot of the women in my community have a lot of expectations on themselves that are self-placed. And when we really look at it and go, wait a minute, so why do you insist that you're the only person that has to make dinner every night? Why do you insist that, this and that, or that you have to be at your office from this time to this time? Why aren't you taking a lunch just because you never did, right? So really looking at how can I take ownership of my time? Am I doing things and spending time in a way that actually fills me up? Am I taking time, like Liv so beautifully said, about bringing in more joy and not having this, oh my God, I have to go produce. And yeah, so that was what I kind of was really getting off of that, like how to dissipate the overwhelm and really, it's almost like surrendering to gain more control by getting back into alignment of how you want to be intentionally living and being, I cannot speak more to with this message just for myself as well, but the power of intention in how you spend your time, who you spend it with, and what you want your day to look like and feel like, because you're in the driver's seat of all of that from the minute you open your beautiful eyes in the morning.
Oh, I love that. And we are the same person. You are I feel like I'm the Northeast Melissa and you are the Florida Olivia. So
That's exactly. And I was like
polarize the country. Wait, you can polarize in a good way, right? Yes, we polarize in a balanced way.
Well, in our world, we do. In our world, we do.
This is the perfect example of how two female CEOs can really have their shit together in their life and also not know very small facts. But also we are embracing that about ourselves. One of the things that I encourage people to do is really dig out your insecurities, find out what they are, and then just make such light of them and really be comfortable with them, because no one can ever use them again against you. So that's number one.
Oh my God, I have a field day of insecurities. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I'm pretty, I would say self-deprecating, but I feel like the more that I've come into alignment with all the things that I thought I needed to fix, which again was another thing on my list, I'm like, I find that I wear them now and I actually love them. I actually love all the things that I was once so insecure about. Listen.
And also just a sidebar, and I love this. I remember I heard this from, I always pay tribute. Wait, hold on. Wait, I want to make sure I pay tribute. It was Jerry and Esther Hicks, Law of Attraction. And I remember it was at a time, and it might have even been, I think I originally, one of my earliest mentors was Louise Hay. And she really got me to fully love myself. But she said it, and then I remember I heard it in a Law of Attraction. It was at a time when I definitely was not in a loving relationship with myself. I looked like I was, but I was not. And I was like, no, I eat healthy because I love me. No, I eat healthy because I wanted to look a certain way, right? And it was very highly restrictive. So we're good. That's a whole other sidebar. But my point in this and why I cut you off was really just posing to everybody listening is, what if you're just accepting and saying, I'm worthy now. I don't have to change anything about me now. I'm worthy of happiness now. I'm worthy of the love of my life now. I'm worthy of my ideal body now. I'm worthy of the job now. I'm worthy of loving me now. It doesn't mean not to be growth oriented. I know that but it's actually just saying, I accept all of me and I don't need to keep putting off my desires until I'm somebody other than me.
Right. Right. And so you're absolutely right. And one of the best exercises that Jerry and Esther Hicks use is that they make a list. And I've done this myself if I've been like really busy, getting ready to travel, just like a monster load of things that it's impossible to get done. And I know that we do this because when you're a performer, you're like, just go, go, go. And you make one side, which is things that you need to get done that only you can do. And then the other side is a list for the universe. Or you just make a list of things and then you assign it to you in the universe. And then you sort of like start making the hashtags and just go about your list and watch how many other things fall into place. So for example, you know, something on my list might be grocery shopping. Well, I could order online, I could do all of these things. And then on that list is I have to call this person, this person, this person, that have this person email me. When you really set that up, that person will call you, that person will email you. So it's like there's this synergy that comes together.
So you've got a piece of paper. Mm-hmm. And on one side you're doing
like it says like Melissa on one side, and then it says universe, and there's nothing written. And then in between it, you want to in the middle margin, you want to write just the list of things that you have to do, and then start working down your list. And as you start working down your list, keep track and sort of like make a little hash mark as each thing gets done that you didn't do, or that say, okay, so you're going to put, I did groceries on underneath Melissa. And then the person calling you would be the universe playing with you. And that goes under the universe. So instead of you reaching out to the person, looking up their number, all of these things. So playing that fun little game is really a great way to also alleviate a lot of the stress and a lot of the overwhelm, because of course, I think it's in our nature, especially when we're going through something that's stressful like COVID and isolation, to over assign our brains things to do, because that is a trauma response. And so we have to stop the glorification of busy. We can be intentional.
Absolutely.
We don't need to be busy running around like chickens with our heads cut off. We really can be intentional and get so much more done, and the quality of what we get done can supersede anything that we could have done. And you've done it, I've done it, we've all done it, where you're just going through the motions and you're just producing something just to produce it, but it's shit. It's not what you want to produce. The feeling isn't there, the emotion isn't behind it, and so you cheat yourself out of the experience. Don't cheat yourself out of the experience. Don't cheat yourself out of savoring that juicy experience. And now that's all I want to do. If I'm eating dinner with someone, I'm like, I don't want to be anywhere else other than what I'm doing right now, you know,
and not be on your phone, not be like really connected. Like there is like, we just become so disconnected. And I think this is what, you know, you and I, like we started talking about, and this is where, and so guys, I know when we started this, we were talking about like pandemic and disconnection and isolation, but really being connected to life. Like every day is a gift, every day. And if you're living it in the rat race and constantly, and don't get me wrong, guys, I love you being here, but on these different apparatuses and living in a space where that's all there is, that's what I've noticed is this heightened self-judgment that I'm seeing so much more now. And I think it's because of all of this internalization of I should be doing, oh my God, look at what they're doing, comparison. And there's not as much of living life, like actually being outside, being present to the people in front of you, like taking time with you before you're turning all these things on. Like really connecting in with yourself. Like there is such a different energy to waking up and taking intentional time with yourself versus waking up and going right to your phone and turning Instagram on or Facebook and checking how many comments or likes or what other people are doing when you haven't even connected to your being, right? And said, hello, good morning. Like, let's have an epic day today. Let's be intentional. What do we want to create? What are we doing? Like, let me just breathe life force into this epic body, give gratitude for it, and give gratitude for the life that I'm living versus going right into, oh my gosh. And then we wonder why there's that feeling of overwhelm or constant not feeling good enough, which is a pandemic in and of itself.
Oh, it absolutely is. You know, and so what happens is we start to do a lot of things, and we put the emphasis on doing more, being able to do more, but we're not necessarily doing them well. And
Yep.
so there's a reason that craftsmen, so take a table for example, or chairs, people that are building these by hand, or even homes, you look at homes nowadays, for those of you who are in the construction industry and architecture, I'm sure you'll agree, things that were built with ultimate craftsmanship and intention and execution and planning, they are still standing today. If you go to Europe and you look at these structures, these castles, you know, it's like they took a lot of time. So at no point in that were they like, oh geez, Joey's got a deadline to build the Louvre. You know, it's like, no, they just did it from a place of intention and artistic creation and beauty and all of that. And you know, it's just it's something that I personally am trying to incorporate more in my life, and I'm doing more than I ever have. My business is busier than it ever has been. I know it's the same for you. Ridiculous. You know, and again, I have a team to help me, but even when I didn't, I got to a point, we've spoken about this, where I was overwhelming myself because I knew I wanted to get to the next level. And all of you listening, you are at that point if you're feeling overwhelmed, to however that applies in your life. But I was so used to doing everything myself because I felt that was some kind of badge of honor, you know, martyrdom. And I just eventually one day was like, you know what? No, I don't need to do this. And I'm actually more powerful, more effective if I can surrender, if I can release, if I can ask for help. That's a big one. Asking for help when you're an alpha female like you and I are. That is not an easy thing to ask for help. I for the longest time took it as a sign of weakness, but I don't anymore.
You know, it's so funny you said that. I hear that all the time, especially from women that are in, you know, of the generation that really had to fight in kind of a man's world and make their voice known, and didn't have what we have now, which is so many epic women showing up so powerfully and beautiful that are showing you can have it all and be this feminine, beautiful light, while also being extremely powerful, and how powerful being feminine is, right? So they really have that hard time with really going, it's not a weakness to ask for help. It's not a weakness to show emotion. It's not a weakness. And they're really like, one of the primary things that we're always working on is accepting the emotions and honoring them and not making them wrong. And, you know, really seeing that having your emotions, asking for support, surrendering is a sign of strength, not a weakness. And really like shifting that, because it was so heavily ingrained, like, no, don't cry. No, don't do this. No, don't be anything but happy and bubbly and perfect. Right. Like, so, but asking for support, especially when you are that, you know, that female archetype that has had that, I can do it all on my own. And, you know, it is. And I think that's like such a beautiful point. And so I'd love to just say to everybody listening, you know, what if you feel that you're overwhelmed or you have a lot on your plate and you're just kind of like, are you asking for help? And are you giving your partners, especially, and the people that you love most, and people that work on your team and whatnot, are you giving them an opportunity to show up for you?
Yes.
Are you empowering them to be their best self? And also, like I said, you know, your partners want to support you and they want to be needed. And it's nice to feel needed. So let them support you the way that you support so many.
Yeah, I think that's a beautiful point, because, you know, part of not being overwhelmed is, of course, that shared, you know, just strength in numbers. And it's that whole "it takes a village" philosophy. But and I think a lot of people would say, oh, I have a lot of people around me that care about me. But again, asking for help is one of those things that it seems like a vulnerability and it seems like a negative thing, but you are so, again, vulnerability is something that was like, I didn't love it, you know, for a long time. And then I
don't know many people that love like putting themselves out there. Like vulnerability, I think, is one of the most powerful things, hands down. And I think it's one of the most challenging things to actually sit. I cannot tell you the number of conversations I walk away from where I'm like, okay, I thought I was being vulnerable and I still could have taken it a whole other level deeper.
Yeah.
And just really, or wow, that was super uncomfortable. And like, I felt like I was going to vomit the whole time I was like, you know, opening my heart, or like just really just even asking for my needs to be met.
Yeah.
And really like, yeah, it's vulnerability, and it is so beautiful. And
it's amazing, because it's one of those things that once you start doing it, it's like a muscle, and you do it over and over again. Then you just get to this place where you show up authentically and vulnerably not in a negative way, but authentically in a genuine way, with pure intentions in every single situation in your life. And you don't need the armor. You can leave it at home. So that's less to carry. That will help your sense of feeling overwhelmed. And you don't have to strategize. Bring your authentic self to the table, and in every interaction, you will lose that sense of overwhelmment, because you don't have to strategize. Just show up as you are. And I promise you, the right people will embrace that, and it serves as this natural filtration, because the wrong people will just fall away.
And the best part is there's never any regrets, because you're like, I was myself. There was nothing that I hid. There was no filter. I asked for my needs, and I know that, right? Like, it's always like I say, make sure your side of the street is clean. Like, you did what you needed to do. And if it wasn't, whatever way it was received, it's like, you can wash your hands of it. And that's knowing if you're creating something, if you're going for that job, if you're going for that body, in your relationships, it's really being in that space of like, I showed up. I was fully myself, and I didn't hold back. And that's when it's always like, it's not the easiest, but that's when you're like, I just have no regrets. And the more that you start living that way, the more it becomes the way that you live.
Yeah, I 1000% agree. And I know you help so many women with this, and men, but you know,
as do you.
I think it's a woman thing, a male thing as well. But I think women, for whatever reason, I see, maybe it's just because we're moms, you know, but I see a lot of men as well that are like super deep, super spiritual, but they're like afraid to really wear that. So for women and men that are listening, show up and just, I promise you, you're gonna kill it if you just show up, be yourself, be authentic, be vulnerable, ask for help, be a human being, I think, right? Because we like to be superhuman. The only way that you get to be a superhuman is by going through the emotions and the steps of humanity, and by owning that, and by coming to peace with that, and then we get to become superhuman, right? But we don't become superhuman by cheating ourselves out of any aspect of what we're supposed to feel or what we're supposed to experience. It's about experiencing that, and knowing that it's part of the process. So
I love that you just said cheating yourself out of that, because it's so true. I think it's sadly become this space of like bypassing our emotions, because we don't want to feel, we don't want to be with them. So there's so many ways in which to just numb out, and there's nothing to be, there's like a fear in feeling, and it's like, oh, I don't have time for the breakdown, or I just don't want to, I'm just not in the mood to be angry right now. I'm just not in the mood to go to that healing, even though it's been on my heart and I know I would feel better, right? Like, I'm not in the mood to go into forgiveness work. I'm not in the mood, but it's like really recognizing it. One, it feels really good to actually release these things. Two, by bypassing them, it's like ignoring a small child and then expecting them to be happy and healthy and grow up, you know, feeling good and achieving their dreams. You can't you would never ignore a child that's crying, or a child that is sad, or a child that's down, or a child that's angry. And we do that to ourselves all the time. And it's just like, oh no, not right now. I'll do that later. Or maybe I'll get to my feelings this weekend. right? And we do it without even realizing it. And we go and we pick up our phones, and then we go to another meeting, and we go. And what's happening is you just want to think every time you do that, it's like another little child there that's inside of you that's pulling at your energy. That's, sitting there, and all of that unhealed, unprocessed, that bypassed emotion, that's when people end up snapping at their partners, exploding at their kids, having, feeling depressed, overeating, putting on what, right? So like all of these things will manifest if we don't actually really start to allow and trust in and not make those parts wrong. So I know we're coming on the close here.
Yeah.
But do you have any final words
No,
before we go?
I was just like really digesting what you have to say. It's really good. You're super smart.
Thanks. Oh my God, it's true.
It is true. It's
No,
true.
do you want to
And
know?
you're beautiful, and you're a good friend, and you're
She's
like
she's the man of my life that hasn't shown up yet.
well, I mean,
No.
I wear many hats,
No,
but
I
no,
mean right
I was
back
just-
at you. Like, yeah.
I was just being in the moment and listening to what I was just doing. That's the exercise that I want you all to practice. Just like you'll even see, like I looked away because I don't even want to be distracted. Like I just want to really fully absorb what she was saying to me. Be in the moment this week. That is your homework. Be in the moment. Shut your eyes if you need to. Turn your head away. Distract yourself. Be in the moment and watch how joyfully and intentionally and powerfully and effectively you show up in your life. I love you.
Yeah. Oh my God. I love you too. And what a beautiful takeaway. And other things in the moments, guys, pay attention to what's in front of you. If you're overhearing a conversation, there's a reason the words are meant for you, or you wouldn't hear them. If you're just notice all the signs around you. Like if you're hearing a bunch of sirens, like why? Ask dialogue with yourself. Like, what is the meaning of this for me? Just really recognizing everything is connected. We're all connected, and you're always receiving messages and guidance. So any of those prayers are always being answered. Any of those asks during meditation, just keep your eyes and ears open. But if they're always being answered, the question is, are you listening? And often what I find is they're always being relayed to us. But when we're so caught up in being busy and we have an idea of what it's supposed to look like and feel like, and we're so focused on what we want hasn't come yet, then you never get to see the blessings that are around you and the gifts that are there, and maybe the alternative path that's even better than what you could ever imagine that's right in front of you.
I agree.
Right.
So open your eyes,
California. Oh my gosh, we just.
I know. I love all these messages. This is like making my afternoon. I'm going to be just like riding that natural high. I hope all of you are as well. We will see you all next week. Don't forget to keep DMing us, sending us show ideas, topics. Please visit myself and Melissa on our pages. We love to interact with you guys. And Melissa, I just
hit up our
you.
DMs.
Yeah.
The new form. We're like, get off your phones. Meet us here. DM us. Let us know everything about you.
Get off of your phones right after you send us messages. So that's
and if anybody's interested, I'm doing a mindset masterclass on how to be happy and positive, because it's fascinating how many people need it. That is happening tonight. You can head over to my link tree. You can do the same. Liv's got amazing free gifts, incredible content, and all the things. My gorgeous co-host. We will be with you next week, every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. Any questions you have, let us know. We hope you love this. Please share this with anybody who needs it. That's why we do it. We come in here with no other agenda other than to be of service. So if you know somebody that needs it, invite them in each week. We love you, and have a blessed and beautiful Wednesday.
Bye.
Bye, guys.